Hi everybody, my name is Tad and I am making this video as a response to a video challenge by Wholesome Roots to list the 5 reasons why you homestead, or in my case, the 5 reasons why you want to homestead. So basically, one of the reasons I want to homestead is to be able to eat healthy and affordably. I have a little story that goes with that. Kind of leads us up to why I came to the conclusion that I want to homestead. I have been basically sick for years now, almost a decade, and we've had a lot of trouble figuring out why, and it boils down to food. And found out celiac, got a little bit better but not fully better, found out I was allergic to whey, went off the dairy, got a little bit better again but still not fully better, then started gaining weight and doing different things. And finally this past summer in July, I went to the nutritionist and he put me on a low lectin diet. And as a last resort, I said if this isn't going to work, I was going to screw it, just be done with it. And then after about 2 months, a month and a half to 2 months, I started feeling better for the first time in over a decade, really feeling better. And so then I turned around and uh, basically started to get more depressed and frustrated because I didn't know how I was going to be able to afford to continue with the diet that he had put me on, because basically I was eating fresh vegetables and fruits every day. I'm right now still on Social Security disability, so I have very limited income, and it's just really expensive to eat the way I was eating for that month and a half. And I went through my emergency funds, that whole works. So I got really depressed, and I took some of my tools to get out of depression and said, look, I'm just going to not think about it right now. I'm going to just do something fun, just do something I can get myself involved in to get myself out of the depression so I could then figure out the logistics of how to get it done. And in doing so, I was like, well, what do I want to do? And so I looked on Meetup. I couldn't find anything that I was physically capable of doing at the time and would enjoy doing. And so I said, heck with it, I'll just start researching something I want to do maybe in the future. And I had remembered just previous to that at one point I wanted to do homesteading. When I was a kid, I wanted to live on a farm. I thought that would be the neatest thing. I never shared that with anybody until recently, but that is something that came to mind. And so then I turned around and I said, well, what about homesteading would I want to find out? And at that point I was so focused on food. I was like, I'd love to start a garden, but where I was at the time, I didn't have the means of being able to do that, and I didn't know when I was going to move. So I was like, I didn't really want to start a garden right then and there, because I would not be able to take it with me. At least that's what I thought until I started doing some research. But I was very interested in hydroponics, and I figured, well, let me just look up and find out what hydroponics consists of. Lo and behold, after doing some research, I ran across this, cheap DIY hydroponics by VanDuzee, and I started watching his videos. And so then I started binge watching his videos, and I realized, hey, I can do this, and I can do this now. And so I started getting involved. I started, getting what I could available to me and start doing the little bits that I could do. And I started with an avocado seed, and then I had a mango seed that I had, and I started learning how to germinate a mango seed. And then I got a few other things, and I got a few containers, and I forgot this, and I got that, and I got it together, and I had my first harvest this past week of a bunch of different kinds of leafy greens, and it was pretty cool. And this whole process of learning this gardening and researching and basically learning how to cook, because did not know the first thing about cooking on top of everything. So as I'm growing these greens and going, okay, I'm growing it, now what do I do? What do I do when I'm ready to harvest it? How do I cook it? How do I process it? How do I store it? I went through the whole gamut, and I've been just YouTubing and YouTubing and YouTubing. And it came about that I really decided that I really enjoy this, and I was really enjoying reconnecting with nature. And I had always been a nature person from the get-go, but I had gotten away from it big time over the past decade or so, being sick and always being cooped up and not feeling good, and just not being able to physically do the things that I used to be able to do. And now I'm starting to get in touch with it. I'm getting more active. I still get tired early in the day, but I'm doing it, and I'm still wanting to do it, and my mind is active, and I'm like, I want to learn this, and I want to. So I've just gotten really on board with it, and I realized homesteading is really what I want to do, because what I want to do is not have a dream, like, a goal to attain, but a lifestyle to live, and that's part of why I want to do homesteading. It's just so that I can afford the food, so that I can eat healthy, so that I can maintain my energy, so I can do the things that I want to do. And homeschooling or homesteading is a living school. The other thing that I have a passion for is teaching, and I love to teach, and I love to learn. I just absolutely love to learn things, and so it just keeps me motivated. The other thing I'm discovering is with homesteading, I have the more ability to go at my pace. I spent a lifetime of being different and just trying to keep up with everybody else. And, it just seemed so difficult all the time. And I was just constantly doing that, running a rat race, and I wasn't getting anywhere, and I wasn't enjoying life. I was miserable. I mean, I did things that I enjoyed, but deep down, I really wasn't happy. And so I got diagnosed with a few things, Asperger's syndrome. I'm also transgender, so I'm out of the box everywhere, and I never live in my comfort zone. And people were always pushing me to do this or do that, and I hated it. But when I learned that when I'm left to go at my pace, I do things that I never dreamed of being able to do. And I really just feel like homesteading will allow me to go at my pace, learn the things I want to learn, and do the things that I want to do, and give me that freedom that I can't do in a traditional job, and I can't do in a traditional lifestyle, or what society deems as traditional. Another thing that I really have a passion for is helping others. And in this gardening process, I'm sitting here, I'm learning that I can teach, as I'm learning these things, I can teach this stuff to others and teach them how to live healthier. And even if they just learn one little thing, then they will take that away, and they might share that with someone else, and it's going to multiply. And I love to see that happen. I love to see the little spark in someone's eye when I teach them one little thing that they didn't know. And I find that with the homesteading, I have so many different avenues that I'm interested in that I could share and just spark those interests and help somebody get healthier, help somebody live a little bit better quality life. I think that's just beyond what I could dream of, just doing it. If it's just one person, that's awesome. But what I'm finding is, if it's just the one person in front of me, there's going to be another person that comes along, and that person will be in front of me, and I can share that with them. And then they're going to go and take that elsewhere too. So it's going to allow me to help others in ways I didn't even imagine being able to do. And then the last piece, the fifth reason why, is because I believe that homesteading would encompass all of my spirituality, mind, body, and spirit. It would allow me to live a life free of electronics, using electronics as a tool instead of a reason to live. And to me, that is just very important, to live a more deliberate and conscious life, and just to be able to be spiritually connected, be mindful of the things that I do, and to live it as a lifestyle. instead of just doing it, when it occurs to me, but to really deliberately live. And I can't see any better way to do that except when you're working with nature, as a part of nature, and to really feel like a part of nature. Anyway, so that's kind of why I really want to live a homesteading life, and I want a homestead, and someday I will have my own homestead. But in the meantime, I've since all this has happened, I have not only moved from the place I was at where I started gardening, I've moved into an area where I have a huge backyard and the freedom to start gardening on a bigger scale, a more permanent scale, and to help others that are living at that same house. And I will share those links below of all these people that have helped me and encouraged me, so that you can go and get encouraged yourself. Thank you, and if you like this, maybe I'll make some more.